For the longest time, Indians have held this belief that true productivity is painful, that you have to suffer for success, and that if you don't suffer enough to the point of being unhealthy, then you are doing it wrong and what you're doing is meaningless and unworthy. There is suffering in success, yes, but it is a half truth. There is sacrifice and pain involved in achieving a goal that is very hard to achieve, but the extreme idea, without nuance, that having fun in life is wrong, that enjoying your work is a sign that you're a lazy bum, playing a game instead of actually respecting it, is a fallacy that has been embedded in our culture for too long. Everything can go back to the British. It all goes back to them, and who doesn't love blaming the British for everything bad in the world? But today, I want to decode this feeling, the false sense of urgency, and try to uninstall an identity tied to suffering. So let's not blame the British for now. Let's focus on the outcome of what this incomplete sense of suffering equal to success does to the minds of our youth, especially creative people and their content creation journey. Now, something amazing has happened in the last few years. More and more Indian content creators are emerging, being themselves, and building a community online from just making creative reels, skits, and accepting everything about us that we were told wasn't aesthetic enough. In that wave, I found myself burning and itching to tell stories too. I always have something going on in my mind, and not enough people to have deep talks around the fireplace with. So I figured I'd tell stories with my writing, occasionally combine it with some stunning visuals and good cinematography, and I have got myself a vlog or a short film. Amazing. I wrote that way for almost a year, and I'm proud of how much I've learned and how far I've come. I hope to keep going because I have fallen in love with this. But to keep going for years, it is necessary to think of what kind of schedule is sustainable. For almost a year, I have only made long form content. So the 10 to 20-minute vlogs on YouTube about my knitting journey sometimes, or just life in general. My thoughts, art, some travel, cozy vibes. Quick context, vlogging about your day as a concept became especially popular in 2020. Everyone was miserable and chronically online, and people just started performing less and being more comfortable with being in their jammies and uncombed hair, sharing how we were all in one big soup of nothingness that 2020 was. Ever since then, more and more amazing vloggers have started and grown big on YouTube and Instagram and told amazing stories. So if someone wants to grow on YouTube now as opposed to 2020, so 2025 and onwards, where everyone wants to vlog, well, you got to beat the traffic. You have to upload often enough, which is minimum once a week, and you also have to be kind of good. More consistent than good, but still minimum once a week. For a whole year, with the kind of content I was looking to make, beautiful looking vlogs with some thoughtful commentary about the day or the week, or just some thoughts from reading a good book recently, or mindset shifts, I was making something that didn't exist on the internet, especially in the Desi girl space, that I wish existed. And for almost a year, I had an aversion to short form content and I was focusing on long form content. Now, a 10 to 12-minute video with the occasional A-roll commentary, voiceover, and mainly B-roll footage of me doing random activities like cooking, biking, painting, reading, all that. It needs about 50 videos for a 3-minute montage if you want to make it snappy and interesting. So for 10 to 12 minutes, I need like 200 or so videos that are thoughtfully taken. Because you have to post at least once a week to grow on YouTube and maybe be able to make like grocery money earnings from it in a few years. Well, that's just the pace. The world moves fast and you have to keep up. 3 million uploads are done on YouTube every day. Maybe that's more. And amazing aspiring vloggers are everywhere. So for a long time, I thought that needing some sort of a production system or a studio level system of being able to crank out one video a week was what was missing. That was the answer. As you can imagine, shooting a 10 to 12 minute video isn't hard necessarily like manual construction labor, but it is a different kind of hard in the sense that you have to make use of your cognitive function and you have to make a lot of micro decisions per minute to make something good. After years of doing it, the cost of decision making for a vlog for each of those 200 individual shots is almost zero. But because that is the maintenance stage, the first few years of YouTube and well, filmmaking or vlogging or storytelling are the foundational stage. The foundational stage is always going to be 10 times more work than the maintenance stage. And it is not always the physical labor, it is the mental cost of hundreds of micro decisions to set up each and every shot perfectly or the way I want it, because this video is forever. It is a documentation of my life from X month in X year. Well, it better be done right. And if it means taking those extra 5 minutes to adjust the angle of me opening that door from here, well, it is worth it. But here is the irony. Vlogging about your life to make soothing videos should be slow. By definition, artistic videos are about going step by step, going slow, and taking a breath of fresh air in a fast paced world. It is a much needed break that you can see someone being calm and artistic, maybe a little unhinged and goofy at times, rather than watching a productivity guru or some ads. So, having to crank out such level of vlogs on a weekly basis for algorithmic growth is heavily misaligned with the actual vibe of the video itself, which is slowness. It is like having to engineer and produce slowness by forcing myself to shoot on 1 to 2 days and edit on the third day, because that is not how I live life. I live life, and the point of documenting it is to film it as it happens instead of curating it. I realized it wasn't that I didn't have a good system in place. It's that what I wanted isn't possible because of the level of videos I want to make. It quite literally takes time. You cannot rush this. The same way you cannot rush a week to get to Saturday fast enough. It has to take its time if I want to be authentic and not performative. I was stressing, and the weekly deadline was making me miserable. And ironically, I know we all can write well when we are miserable. So I'd rather cling to my misery than cure myself and become happy, because who can write when they're content and happy? Wasn't it Richard Sicken or someone online that said that the vocabulary of happiness is grunts and moans? Because you just have to point at it and laugh, and the vocabulary of losing someone or something is the whole dictionary. Well, this increasing level of stress from having to vlog up to my potential was just making my mind foggy. And I love this following analogy: crystallizing sugar. Have you ever done that? You know, when you want to crystallize sugar, you first have to melt it, and at a steady medium heat, you have to keep, well, cooking it. It looks like nothing is happening, but you gotta trust that at one point it's gonna tip. And usually, after a long time of waiting, 15 minutes later or so, it magically starts crystallizing. I mean, realizations are kind of like that. I was in this boiling sugar for a year, and one day I realized that I didn't want this kind of extra stress anymore. This is my life, damn it. I started vlogging to document my life, not to be performative and churn out a vlog every week on the clock, even when I had nothing to say. I write when I have something to say, and I post when I have something to say, not when an algorithm tells me to. The whole point of starting something of my own to then have a personal brand from my storytelling is to take ownership of my own life and to get some agency back in my life where my agency has been stolen. Isn't it crazy to still abide by some external rules that are stressing me out? And that is when it dawned on me. Well, the once a weekly minimum is a rough guideline, yes. It is the way it is. But I am the one who made it harder than it needs to be. And the answer was staring me in the face. I just wasn't ready to accept it. I was so focused on long form content because it is more work and more filming and labor and more decisions that to me it felt like I was doing something. Long form in this case is what I like to do, and that's how my brain works. I mean, we are what, 10 minutes into this episode before I made my point, so clearly I think like a novel. I don't think in a truncated version of a paragraph or like a highlight reel. But there is nothing wrong with that. The world runs on both small talk and deep talk. But when you have to get work done, the deep talk isn't appropriate, right? And small talk is annoying, yes, but it helps you network and be in whatever game you need to be in. It's an essential part of it. And maybe small talk, deep talk isn't the greatest metaphor, but in my mind, short form content wasn't work enough for me. It wasn't suffering enough. It's not that I don't want to make shorts because I hate them. I mean, I binge watch shorts and reels on Instagram, but shorts require context switching of the brain from long form content. It requires you to think differently. And YouTube loves shorts as much as long form because both of them keep you on the platform and engaged. So it took me a while to understand my aversion to short form content because I myself binge it. I like to tie it to something I coined recently, which is the green light theory. As an immigrant who recently started driving in the States, I had an instinct to slow down at green lights. Slow down, yes. Because what if someone is coming from the side and hits me? I have to make space for them, right? I mean, I've driven in India and you have to look out for these things. You have to be careful in the chaos. Also, green signals are short. And so if you see one from far away, it is almost guaranteed that it will turn red by the time you reach the crossing. So I have the instinct to slow down. And my Caucasian American instructors couldn't understand why I sometimes slowed down. It's like, you have to go, 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 hit the gas, go. And I'm like, yes, yes, oh my God, sorry, yes. Because it's too easy. What do you mean? The light is green and I can just go? I can just go. No checking the sides, no waiting for it to turn yellow because I'm far away. I have to speed up. It can't be that easy. And easy is bad, right? Cruising smoothly without bumps and stops is bad. It's meaningless and its worth doesn't exist. This feeling is deeply rooted in immigrants, particularly Indians, that anything that happens smoothly is bad and unworthy and not real work. If it's too easy, it's not real work. We live in a different time now. The rules of what works, what makes money, what is considered a respectable career are now different. The world has changed since COVID, and we have too. The context of our lives has changed and modernized, and our principles need to adapt too. Our principles can always be rooted in love and kindness, and they can be rooted in good, like in the fundamental way, but we need more than that. We need nuance. We need to adapt. For example, shooting 200 videos for a 10-minute vlog is objectively more time consuming and laborious than shooting 20 videos for a 30-second reel. And the reel is almost guaranteed to make a greater impact with its nugget sized story and easy to digest format than a 10-minute video, especially in our busy lives. It took me 29 years to understand that less can be more and effective. I mean, I've heard this phrase, but the application of this phrase in my day to day life and in the things that I do, it took me that long to apply it to my career, let's say, or my life. And that posting once a week, it doesn't have to be a 10-minute video that is very hard to produce weekly at the level that I want to make. It's okay to post shorter, quote unquote, easier content. Easier isn't worse. Easier isn't worthless or meaningless. It's sustainable and frees up so much mental clutter and pressure. For instance, a thunderstorm afternoon does not have to be a 10-minute drag of a video if there isn't much else to do than filming rustling leaves and trees in the wind, a lake, some soup. I mean, it doesn't have to be long form content always. Some emotions and feelings are okay to end in 20 to 60 seconds. They're just as complete. They're not worse than a long vlog. The conclusion here is that long form is expansive and short form is precise. Neither is more finished, they are just different kinds of thoughts. A 30-second reel that perfectly captures a thunderstorm is more complete than a 10-minute vlog padded with unrelated moments. Now, that is just the start of it. There is an element to it of greediness and hoarding. Let's talk about that. Indians are hoarders, okay? It is what it is. We want more. Even if we don't do anything with it, we want it. Same with a movie length. If it's longer, we like it. Even if we scroll on our phone during it, having something that lasts longer and is bingeable is great and it feels like a gift. I mean, that greed of consuming and also the generosity of giving is the two poles of being an Indian. Indians love to give fourth and fifth helpings of food when you visit them. A second cup of chai, some leftover snacks, and whatnot. That generosity of being a giver also makes me feel like I need to do more and give out more to help people by telling them more stories because more is better, right? I only realized it now, but that definitely makes a big influence. Then there is another bigger part to all of this. This is a big one, so listen closely. Creative work is not the same as a 9 to 5. When you're doing something of your own, you are essentially doing the job of 5 people. Creative work is where a lot of thinking is involved. It might look like you're staring off into the distance or staring at a wall sitting on the couch for 20 minutes, but that is creativity flowing. It is happening inside your brain. I mean, for so long, mental illnesses were brushed off as nothing because it was inside the brain. But that's real work too. If you're going to the gym or going on a walk without your phone, without any headphones, no podcast, no music, your best thoughts will come to you in that. And that's real work too. That's the bigger part of the issue. In India, people have rarely been encouraged to do something of their own where our true passion lies. So we are never able to learn more about the subjects that we were interested in. And we are never able to gain the mastery that comes from practice and consistency. So we don't know what being in or excelling in a creative field is like. I mean, at this particular point, I don't know it either because I am starting. But I have realized that creative work is vastly different from a 9 to 5. You cannot treat it like a desk job. For the most part, in a desk job, you are told what to do. Your boss is told by his boss what to do, and the orders come from above. The projects are decided in the management meetings, and the projections and expectations are decided there. In creative or artistic work, you decide all that. And you do the work too. The performance reviews, the metrics, if any, the schedule, what project to make next, the acting, directing, the music choices, the writing, all of it. And it's all mental load. Again, just because it goes on in the mind doesn't mean it's not work. And there is a cost there. The cost of planning and decision making that drains a human differently than if you were to chop wood all morning. And since we are all chronically online and overstimulated, the brain is in overdrive, which isn't good for us. That's the second part I'm trying to make sense of in my work. The association with a 9 to 5 and equating creative work with it, like working at a company for someone else, is wrong. It is not equivalent to artistic creative work. There is no way we would have known this until we tried. I mean, I tried, and for almost a year, I was like, I have to make long form every week. Even though a sweater takes 3 weeks to make, I have to somehow get carpal tunnel from knitting fast and be able to upload more vlogs. That is how I was thinking. But now I know through a lot of trial and error that you cannot put creative work and a 9 to 5 work on that vintage weighing scale and try to equate it or try to see how much of this is equal to how much of that. And I know if you're listening to this episode and if you made it till here, you agree with this, you needed someone to tell you that manual labor isn't the only metric of work and productivity, okay? Indian society was so averse to creativity all this time, even though the most beautiful parts of our culture come from our millennia old art and music. We aren't who we are without it. But again, the British, they ruined everything, that's what they do. And the ripple effect of that, with Indian society being extremely risk averse and choosing the safest option, has skewed the way we think of possibilities and creativity. So, if you're like me and you have been losing your brain thinking that you aren't disciplined enough in making more content to change your life, think again. If you have been able to be at it for more than a year, which is the hardest phase, chances are you don't have a discipline problem or a motivation problem. You do want it bad enough. You have been at it and given it your best shot, but your understanding of what is productive and what is possible is skewed by corporate industry metric. It is making you go 3 times the speed at which you should be going for work that needs time to marinate. I mean, better slow and steady than going too hard for 3 months and burning out. The only consistent work that is good for you is the one that doesn't burn you out and that looks different for us on different days. And that includes work that you don't dread doing. I mean, I dread pretending to do an activity just for the sake of filming. I will put it off forever. It's not me. I am tired of performing. This world is tiring. I'm tired of everything. I'm tired of constantly having to perform, whether it's pretending to like my boss's racist joke, whether it's pretending to be grateful for a humiliating opportunity. I am tired of performance. I just want to exist. And I just want to document life as it happens because life does happen. If there is one thing you can count on, I have realized, is that life happens. There is no stopping it, so it will be what it will be. And the pauses, the long days of doing nothing, the part where your brain wants to shut off what you just uploaded because you worked so much on it, you can't bear to look at it. Yeah, that's productive too. Going on a walk is productive too. Resting on the couch or watching an episode of something to cool down is productive too. I'm thinking of doing another episode, a deeper dive into this second part of the problem. Maybe I should. I'm reading this great book right now, The Elephant Paradigm. It explains why Indians are the way we are and how we are wrestling with change. I myself love to go into a rabbit hole of understanding how exactly the British ruined it all and what we did with what we were left with. A collapsed society desperately trying to rebuild and emphasizing survival over luxury. But for today's episode, this is where my thoughts end. As always, if you don't like this podcast, just click off. Okay, don't leave a 1-star review, you know. And if you are gonna take the trouble to leave a review at all, leave a good one. Like, if you don't have nothing good to say nothing at all. And I still don't know how I should end my podcast. I mean, what do I say? This is like a conversation with a friend, right? How do you end a conversation with a friend on the phone? What, Manasi signing off? Whoa, hey visitors, hope you had fun. Like, what do I say, right? I'm just figuring all this out for the first time and I'm trying this for the first time. So, you know what? I'm just gonna do a very millennial, early 2000s teen thing right now. Bye.